connection lost, you can drop off and continue your things. We'll connect tomorrow. Okay, so just a recap to yesterday. So we have started creating a job and understand one of the connections. So connections are very important. Even any tool, when you are going for any ETL tool, so there will be a like a, they'll call it as a transformation or a flow. They'll call it as this is a like a flow or a transformation or whatever they're going to call. But coming to Talend, they'll call it as a connection. So if you right click on a component, you will see the row and trigger. These two are kind of mm, like a core things which can be establish a connection between the components. Without connections, right, we cannot pass the data from one component to other component. That's where we understand the example to generate to what is the use of the t row generator just to prepare the data. It's not very like a great component or which can be used in all wherever we get kind of any scenario, something like that. It's a completely kind of a like you can say a practice, or if you want to just mock up some data. For that purpose, we are going to use this row generator. It's not really going to help in your real time experience. There is a like case some row entry need to be generated in a file or DB, just a dummy data or something. There you can use this component. Otherwise, it's not at all useful this component. But we are trying to understand how we can make the data, and we are in a training, so will not have any set of business related data and all. We just we can create a dummy data and we can start practicing things. For that purpose, I have also discussing about this component. Generally, you don't put this component at all in resume, and you don't say I have used t row generator and all in your interview calls also, because it's not at all gray, like functionally it's not at all useful in the in your business requirements and all. So don't some people I see, right, whatever the components they'll practice, they'll put in the resume. They'll mention all the components list, TJO generator, T lagro. That is not like a good thing, because if you put any like a kind of hot or core components in Talend, that makes sense. But if you put whatever components, you'll know some people write on the resume. Even I even like mainly if you notice, like if anybody have experience with US people, right, they'll write each and every component in their resume to show what the capabilities they know in a Talend. So that's where I'm just keep telling you, because if you also mimic any other resume, then you'll start using this kind of pattern, and don't mention these components at all in your profile. Okay, so coming back to this flow. So now when you are using this component, and it's going to be an input or it's going to be a processing component, I told you, right? So input, processing, output, these three keywords you have to remember when you are designing a job. So what is a processing? It's a intermediate process. You want to do some transformation, or you want to do some validations, or you want to check data quality, whatever. So those are all going to be called as a processing components. And other than that, what you will have input and output. So here also in category under the palette, you see that different folders to understand like what is the component and under what category this component is coming. Those things you will find out from the palette. Now we connected to the log row. T row generator is a purpose to generate a data, and I want to print on the console. For that purpose, we used a log row. And log row, we have seen that options how to print vertical table, or it's a columnar manner. So whatever these things we have understand. So main one connection we have discussed a lot yesterday about main. So main connection is the one which can which can be used for pass the data from one component to other component. So that is the intention of the main. That's where they call as a main. So main is I told you, right, it's a switch on. Somewhere you switch on the main, then power will process in all the rooms and wherever you are using the power, like lights or fans, everything will be started. So the flow will started from the main. So data flow starts from the main. That is the intention of the main. That is a psychologically, that's where you understand this is a completely Java based tool. So like a good developers, I can say, who are developed using Java, means they'll have a good logical thinking and they'll have a psychological. So this is a psychological naming conventions which help you to remember, and you can easily understand what you are doing and what others are doing also. So if it is a main itself, you can understand. So it's a something which is a main to process something. So connections, we what we the purpose we are connecting to process something to next. So one component to other component. That is the intention of connections. So one is a main. So main we are able to follow everywhere whenever you see the main connection. So this is a connector. So you can see, right, you want to delete, you can select this and you can delete it. So this is the connection. So you are establishing connection from t-row generator to log row, and you are trying to process this. So pass the data whatever is generated in the input, and you are passing to log row. And this is a one connection. And what are the other connections you have? You can see the iterate. So iterate, what it is going to do. So it makes sense, right? Iterate something, it is wants to loop it. So I want to loop this process. I'm going to less the records, I don't want more. So just I want to 10 rows. Okay, same process I want to run multiple times. So what you are going to do in your like academics or somewhere other skills you have, right? A SQL or some other programming language you may have experience with other like a Java or C++, whatever. So when you want to loop the things, what you are going to use? Anyone? What you are going to use? Some looping concept, or it's going to be a conditional statement, something like you have a iterative statements and conditional statements, these kind of things you had, right? Similarly, Talend has provided a component called a loop, t loop. So t loop component, which is going to loop the things how many times you want. If you see very clearly how the UI is, so here only it is a for and while. You will see the conditional also, but looping always will go for iterative process, right? Iteration purpose, what we are going to use generally in Java or any pro C or C program, like it's going to be a for or while. So same thing, Talent people have designed such a way to loop component. So the loop component which will iterate the process. So what is my requirement? I want to loop this process multiple times. So how many times, how you are going to simply, in general, you have to write the code. So you have to write the code. You have to write a while condition, and you'll put, for example, one greater than two. So like this, if you put condition till that till that things to be satisfied, the job is going to run. If you want to go for a for, so what is the for? So you have to initialization condition. So like this, you are going to have a syntax of for. So here also I'll say in the condition. So these two things we are going to use in our daily life of where you want to iterate. It's a programmatically, logically. You want to do something iteratively, then you will go for while or for. And where you have to it's a while, just you will have a condition, and where coming to for loop, you will have a initialization condition, or it's going to be in condition based increment or a decrement. So same thing what beautified by the Talent people, they have designed like a for. So from that is a initialization, and two is a condition, like it's going to be how many times or what many times you want to run, and step, so how you want to increment or decrement. So generally we'll do increment, right? This kind of looping will not it depends on, but here our case is can you please go and meet somebody? i'm I'm getting echo my voice. Yeah. So step up is going to be increase the number. So I want to run this one. So you can see the values are incrementing. So you can you have to check this box. Otherwise, it's not going to increment. And while you just see what is there. So just the same thing, declaration and condition iteration. So till the condition satisfies, it's going to kick the job to run how many times. So the purpose we are doing want to iterate the process number of times. And any advanced settings we have here? No, it's just a statistics. It's a generic thing which can help to get the statistic of the component and all. And other things are same. So now what we have to understand, we have a two things to iterate. Looping the process is a for and while. So I want to run this process in a two times. So what we have to change, just a 2. So till the condition one equals to 2, no, then it will start the run. When is incremented in next run, so 2 equals to 2, so then it is matches, then what our process will stop, it will be stopped the after 2 times. So that is we are going to check now. So how to connect this one? So it is a looping component, and what connections with this we have to check. So two connection names you can find. It is a row and a trigger. And here you see, right? It is because it's a looping component. It is designed specific to loop. It's not going to give any data or a source to next component. So a row is a, and you'll have a iterate. So iterate, so the component is designed to just to iterate. It's not for any data process to the next component. So what is the point of giving to the main? So main is what intention is of the main connection, to process the data to the next component. So iterate, so we don't have any other connection, only iterate. Our purpose also, we want to understand the iterate. So iterate is a purpose to loop the things how many times you want. So you want to perform the same action a number of times, you can use the iterate connection. So now we are going to run. What will happen? So one time it is going to run 10 rows, it will create, and it is going to iterate the next time, and it will get the next 10 rows. So here we'll see how it is going to print that. So now you see, right? Two executions are finished. Okay, two executions are finished, and this is the last run of numbers. Generally, you will have a how many records you are going to have? 10 into 20, so 20 records you are expecting from this process. So you have to see 20, one set is a 10 and other set is a 10, it is created or not. Now you see, right, it is created two sets, so two executions are happened. That means this process has executed two times, because we are iterating, as we mentioned, to run this one as a two times. So it is going to keep the loop waiting, and once the one iteration of row generator, whatever data is preparing, that is done, then it will start the next. And you can see number of execution on connection. Same way, if you how many rows are passed from one component other component, you can see here, and how much time took for number of rows also, it will give the that threshold information on your component. So you can how much time took, and this is printing the last execution related number of records, because the process is same, but how many it is generating? 10 rows. So first time it generated 10 rows, and second time it generated 10 rows, but it will show you the at the last iteration number only. It will not show whole number of records information. So without iterate, what is the thing, why we are using iterate? So we can mention here 100. Okay, so you want to mention 20, you can mention 20. Okay, So that if your requirement to get the number of records, so 20, just for this scenario, you can write it directly in the t-row generator. But why we are making that iteration to, if not this case, if you are going to work any other flow which you want to pass or which you want to repeat the some id to the next process to trigger. So you want to trigger when somebody has placed the file, you want to loop that file loading. So whenever they are going to place the file, you want to check that condition, you'll put that file exist or not. So it depends on your logic. So the process, how many times you are going to do. It's a just we are doing a row generator. So what is the need of iteration and all. But we are trying to understand the importance of connection. So one more connection, and where we are going to iterate, we are going to place, and we are trying to understand with the specific component which can help to iterate. And even component level also you can find that iterate. So what it is going to do with the iterate. So you want to check that, just you can connect. Is it allowing anything? No. So why? Because it's a generator. So whenever it is going to generate the data, immediately it cannot iterate the things. If you what component will allow, what component will accept the connection, that is also important when you are designing. So the functionality or what you are planning to prepare in your job is important, and every connection should not allow you to connect every component. So you have to try like what component you are using and what you are trying to make with that connection. So everything, if you have something here, why it's not connected to other component. That is how the logically they have designed some things which cannot be useful if you want to do with every component iterate and all. Even it is not a make sense why we are doing iterate for a row processing. So if there is something which can be looped, then we have to do. So if you want to print again each and every row, that's not working. So you can see any standalone component which can able to establish the connection. See, it is allowed. So, and I am going to just this is a don't worry about this component, we'll talk about later. So this is just a Java code. You can write a custom methods and all this component. So I'm just trying to print this one. So something I want to print on console again. So now I am going to, and you are not using any component in the work design area or a palette. How you are going to disable? So you don't want to delete. Maybe later sometime you want to use this component. Right now you don't want to use this component because it's also green. It's going to do something, but it's not at all what I am trying to do. Then what you have to do? So you can right click on the component. You can see options related to with that component. You can see, right, deactivate whole job and deactivate current sub job. So forget about these two options. Right now we are on at a single component. So you can see that deactivate the loop component, and you can see the delete. If you are not planning to use at all in the job, you don't want that component, you can delete it, or you can simply select it and you can click on uh, delete button in your keyboard. You can, it will delete. Or you want to delete from the right side, you can select the delete. Now I just want to stop that what process it is going to do by the component. I just want to make that as a it's kind of disable, or you can say deactive. So I want to stop that active of the process of the component. So you can go for deactivate the loop component. So it will be disabled. So the code is not going to trigger anymore in your process. So now what we are trying to understand, the iterate of the t-row generator, other components, all other components will also input components. Most of them you are going to see the row main and iterate. Now you see, right? If you notice here, when you click on right click on the component, where is the row connection? Because you have already used the whatever row related connections are provided by this component. So main and iterate. So both are the things you have used. So there is no other connection you can establish on a row wise. So row wise means a row is data processing. So you can make the blind symbol. So row is a data processing. If I remove again, you will see that row. Row in the sense you are processing something. Row means data which is generated or which is trying to read from the input component. It is going to pass to the next component, right? So that's where they are given the that kind of psychological name row. So row means data processed any ETL tool, and Talend row by row. So you can see the row by row. So row is a processing, and it will have a main connections are main and iterate. So main is the intention to pass the data, whatever the row is coming from the input component to next component, and iterate something you want to loop based on each and every row. So row wise. So every row, so 10 rows we have, you want to iterate on the 10 rows, each and every row when it is coming, you want to iterate something, then you go for a iterate. So these two are going to be a main in our row. So data processing related connections, and one more it will be there on the few components is a rejects. So you want to capture the some rejects of the it should be mostly on output components or some processing components. You will see the rejects, because data always it's going to be a positive case, right? There may be a like kind of false set of data, or it's going to be a false positive set of data. So you may need to capture the rejects and all. But right now this component there is no rejects, because rejects section is not required at all, because it's a generator. So component is a generating data. So it's not doing any validation or any conditions, and it won't identify itself any rejects and all. So that's where you are not seeing that another connection is reject. So mainly most of the components you are going to see row, under row, main and iterate. So now we understand main is a data processing, and iterate is a purpose to loop that n number of times. So t row generated 10 times, it is try it is going to return the 10 rows, right? The 10 rows you want to iterate, and you want to print the something whatever you have doing here. It is a just you are printing hello. So 10 times we are expecting to print that hello here. You can see here, right? So but log row, you'll see that at a time 20 times, sorry, so we have changed that to number to 20, right? So 20 times it is printed hello, but this is happened every row. But in log row you will not see that difference. It will not print one by one, right? It will capture everything. At the end it will display how many iterations are happened. So now you can see that. And I want to capture the number of iterations happened in this component. So what are all the like a variables which are available implicitly in this component? So where you can find that. So initially when I am discussing about the overview, I have explained the layout. So layout is going to be outline. So outline which is going to display what are all components you have used in your job, and you can find related anything global variable, so which can help you to use the statistics purpose, or to capture the log message, error message, anything. So I just want to is there anything available in Tiro generator? So now you can see, right, there are two global variables which is given by the inbuilt. So inbuilt talent. So what is the first one? Any error message. If the component gives any error, any throws any error, so that message you want to capture and print it, you can use that. I just want to print the number. So I want to print the number of lines. So what I have to do, then just select that T Java component, and you can drag that variable onto your Java code area. So it will give that kind of a global variable syntax, and you want to print that. So what you have to do, you have to select that system.out.println. Now what will happen after completion of this entire process? You can see here there is a braces, they have given the after. So after the component process, so after the component process, that means what is the purpose of this component? It is trying to generate the rows. So a number of rows it is generating. The number of rows is generation is completed, then the value will be written or hold that value in the variable called global variable number of line. Nb underscore line is a variable where it captures the what number of rows generated by the t row generator. So you want to capture that final number and you want to print, or you want to pass that number to some table statistics kind of thing, you can use that variable. So now what it is going to print, it is going to print the number 20 after processing of this component is completed only. But you cannot see that it is going to be very quick, and you cannot see log row immediately when the hello is printing, when the 20 is printing, and when the data is printing. You don't see, everything will be done at the end. It will cache all the information whatever in the process is doing, and it will capture and it will print at the end. So that's where it is very quick, and you will see that all at a time. But hello is printing for every row. You have to notice this number of executions. So each and execution, it is going to get that hello and it will print it. So now I will increase this number to 300. Let's go for 50. You have to notice the connection. So here it will come. See, very quick it is coming that 50, but it is happening for each and every row. And you can see that NB line. So NB number of line, what it is printed. So what is expected? 50. Do you understand why it is getting null? Anyone? We don't see the we don't see that number, right? So why we are getting null? Because that's where I mentioned the after. So iterate is not a after. So iterate is not a after. Iterate is happening every row. So then it won't able to count the number of rows generated by T row generator. To this is a after process. So after this component, after this process, you are going to get. So if I want to get that count, so what connection I have to use? So one more we are going to learn connection. So now again I am going to take the Tjava component and I am copying. This is not this is not happened because it is iterating. So after functionality you want to work. So what is the connection we want to establish between the T row generator and other component? So I am going to copy this NB line variable. So now you see, right, we are done with the row. So data related processing, the number of rows are done, number of iterations are done. What is the other one you are seeing? Trigger connection. So now trigger connection is it is kind of a triggers you may heard in your SQL experience. If you guys heard trigger, so something happened, then immediately you want to you want to hit something. So if someone like kind of if you want to work on something, somebody has to share the file. So when the file is shared, then you have to start the process. So that dependency, so if somebody is not shared the file, then you don't have to do anything, you don't have a work to do anything. So it's kind of a dependency you are creating. Somebody has to complete their work, then only you have to start your work, then only you are able to start your work. So that kind of like a kind of dependency, or you want to create that event. So some kind of event, when will trigger that event action. So something has to happen means you have to give that indication to you can start your work. So that kind of things will be under trigger connection. So in the SQL also, right? If a table has somebody has inserted data from front end, so some kind of form filling or something, then whenever the table get hitted with the insert statement, then immediately you have to process the whatever they have entered data, and you can start the processing, validating, and you'll further go for a checks. For example, you currently, right, income tax you are filling. So once you are started filling, it will show you in progress. And once you are like if, when you are filling, it will not show it is submitted or what are the status. Once you are submitted your details and everything, the status will change to in progress. So that means you are done your part, and in progress to the people who are validating your whatever you are submitted documents and all. So that is a trigger. So once you submit it, that will go the change the status to in progress. So in progress indicates the someone have to start the working from there. Same way in a Talend you will see the trigger. So trigger is another connection set where you can find a create a dependencies between the one flow to other flow. So right now, right, so I want to use a I want to use on component. Okay, so okay, what is the on component? Okay, so we'll see what will happen. You got the 50 right? So I'm going to write a already know if people know this syntax and all good, otherwise we'll go in deep later. Right now we are trying to understand the connections. Okay, so in this job, right, so what is going to happen first? So it will come here and it will generate the data, how many rows we have requested to generate, that many rows it will start, and it will start prepare the one record, then it will pass the record to iterate, and parallelly it will pass the same record to log row, and again it will generate a second row, and it will iterate to the iterate to go to the iterate that second row, and it will pass that second record to this one. Okay, so it will start generating records, and it will generate the records at a time 50 also. It will start proceeding or passing data to the next component one by one row. So row generator will generate all 50 rows. It will generate and it will keep hold, and it will give the next component one by one row. So it will pass the main as a data. So it will pass the data to the main, and you are asking to iterate each and every row. You want to print something, it will iterate that. And this is now you have to understand on component. Okay, when it is triggering, so it is not waiting for entire flow to complete. That means it is not waiting for to log row to print all the rows, or row and t row iterate to have complete these things. Once the row generator completed the task, what it is the activity, what is the activity of t row generator? Generating the rows. So the generation is completed, then automatically it will get the number of records. So what we are trying to capture from that component, number of rows. So number of rows you have, it is already declared. So you have declared how many rows you want. You want 10 rows or 50 rows, you have already declared. So whenever it is completed the preparation of data count, so after the component, so it's not dependent on all these things. It is a complete as a process. If you remove this one, it is a other process, and this is other process. I told you, right, they'll call it as a within a job, it will a separate sub job. This is a sub job and this is a sub job. Sub job means under the job you have two processes. two activities. So T Java activity is different, and T row generator flow which you have created is going to be different. So this is going to be different, and you are establishing on not on the whole job. You are establishing connection on the particular component. So once the component activity is completed, you are trying to print on it. So that's where you are using a on component. Okay, so on component make a means that is dependent on the component process. So it's not whole job process. Right now you are not going to see the difference because it's very quickly completing, right? So you don't find, but intention of on component okay is some component whatever expected activity as done by that component, immediately you want to print the data. So I'm going to use the on component okay. So when it is going to run this on component okay, once the row generation has completed his task to preparing the data, after the preparing the data, immediately it will pass that global variable information to T-Java component and it will print it. And parallelly, what is going to happen, it will pass the whatever 50 rows it is generated, it will pass that row by row to the main, and parallelly the row will be passed to the iterate. Okay. So main iterate on component okay. You see that after row generator prepared the data, so the count we are printing here, and iterate also we use that global variable, but which is not doing his activity because it's not done when it is passing the row by row. So then it is not able to capture the count. Even you want to use the subjob okay, you can use it. So but it waits for whole process to complete. So whole process to complete, and then it will print the subjob okay. There is no difference in output. You don't see that different, but the intention is once the component is done, you want to perform something, you can use it. Once the whole process is completed, you want to do something, then you have to use the subjob okay. So the output is it's not going to differ much. You don't find what is the difference between so now you see, right? The overall output count is output you are seeing that nothing, but you can see the print statement itself has some difference. Earlier it was printing before log row, now it is printed after log row. So it makes sense, right? Hope you guys able to follow on component okay, and on subjob okay. On subjob okay means it is waiting to print the log row also. So entire process to complete the row generator. On component okay means it is done between this, it is generated rows, it is going to the next component, or doesn't matter for the on component okay. But subjob okay, it is going to wait for to complete the other process also. So whatever printing log row or iterating number, so this is iterating for each and every row, so you are getting null. But when you use on component okay, once the parallel, this is going to be happen parallel, and the generation is happened, it will pass to right, it pass to the data and printing. So printing of log row will going to take at the end. So that is the flow we have designed right now. So the printing is going to happen at the end. When you use the subjob, what happened, the entire thing is done, the printing of the count is moved to at the end after completing the printing on the log row also. But when used the on component okay, it is done between the row generator iteration and log row printing. So it is not waiting for to completing the log row printing and all. So sorry. In other jobs we'll understand better. Right now you're first time hearing and seeing this on component. Okay, sub job. Okay, just I want to cover what kind of keywords and what kind of connections we'll have, and we are going to use in deeply each and every connection also in our next scenarios and all. There we'll understand better where we are going to use the on component. Okay, and where we are going to use the on sub job. Okay, and all. But right now just understand the keyword and how it is working, and just start you are also start practicing these kind of simple scenarios, so you may get understanding of the connection and all. But really where how you are going to use these connections and all, we'll see one by one exercise when we are doing. So just to know and keywords, and because it's important in an interview also, they'll ask you how many connections are available in Talend. So how many are there? Anyone right now? How many we discussed?
So four.
Yes. And what else we have? What are the four? What are the four we discussed till now?
So main, iterate, on component, okay, on job, okay.
Okay. Yeah. And others you can see, right? There are on sub job error, run if, and on component error. So these three is going to be added. So four plus three, 7. And one more I told uh, in few minutes back. In a row, you will see some components will have rejects also. So overall, 8 connections we are going to have in a Talend. So 8 connections which are going to be common for establishing connection between the component. But it's not going to be a all the components will have 8 connections. No, because if you see, right, this will have only, let me activate. So you want to activate this, what you have to do, select the deactivated component and you right click and you can see the activate. So you can click on activate and you can see here row has 1 and trigger will going to have all the 5. So trigger is going to have 5 and row will have 1 here. So that means 6 connections. But in general, we are going to have main and rejects also. So other 2. So 6 plus 2, 8. So 8 connections we are going to have in a Talend. So to establish the connection between the components. So now let me deactivate again. So now on component, what it is going to do between this, it is generating row by row. So generation of row and iterating passing, and after that it is going to be parallel. It will start processing, but log row will take all the printing things will be at the end. If you have a number of components and if you in between you are trying to print something, it won't mind. But log row, it's a console printing. It will be cache all the data and it will print at the end. So earlier it was connected to on sub job. Okay, so it was waited to complete the activity of log row and then it is printed the number of rows generated by thing. Whenever you connect it to on component, okay, it is not waiting to complete this entire process. Whenever this is whenever it feels or whenever it triggers the generator functionality is done, then it will start printed the number of rows. So now you see, right, earlier sub job okay is printed at the that statement after the tiro generator data preparation happened at the end of the process. But now it is printed before the log row. That means it's on component okay is doing his functionality without respecting to log row activity. If you create that kind of connection is respect to all the components, then what connection we have to use? Sub job okay. You want to wait for all other, for example in your team, so you want to go somewhere, so you have you have a plan for some party or something, so everyone wants to go at a time, then you will have some kind of big bus or something, then you will go use the bus to go that place and you will go, or you want to go alone with a group of people want to go by car or bike something. You don't need to wait for everyone's to come, right? You can start plan whenever the person your partner comes, you can start your process. So you can get together that place, that's going to be happen, right? Generally also. So on component means if you are going on alone with some bike, so if Sai wants to go with the Naidu, so you don't need to wait for Sunny or Das need to come. Just they can start. They can start and they can go on there. They can have their seat in the hotel or somewhere. So Sai and Tirupati can go alone. That is called on component. Okay. On subjob okay means, so I had to wait for Sai, Das, everyone, Vishnu, everyone has to be there at a time. You are going to be car. So these five people wants to start. On subjob okay means if Sunny late or Das late, you have to wait. So once these people are gathered at the place where you are going to starting point, and you will get into the car, then you will start your journey. So that is the difference. So on component okay means if Tirupati and Sai wants to go on bike or they want to go on separate car, so they don't need to wait, or they don't need to need any kind of permission or like a waiting things to be on other people. So on subjob okay means you have to wait all the process. Whoever going for party, you have to wait for all the people. They are getting late or something, some whatever issue, but still you have to wait for them and you have to go. And if you don't have a dependency or you don't have any commitment to wait for them, then you will start your process. Same way on component okay means it depends on that component functionality. It's not bother about entire components. So this you can treat it as a three people. So three people have to gather and do their things, then I want to do something. So if the people are, I don't have any restriction or I don't have any dependency others to complete their task to share something, then I'll start individually on this component. Same way if you want to perform on Tjava something, you don't have to wait for this to complete. You can use another component and you can do the other activity. So you can use same, you can have here, you can see, right? There is no subjob okay, just only on component. Behind the scene, every component will have all these connections, and it's a disabled. If you see, right, if you remove that iterate, whenever the dependency created the connection, then you don't see all the connections. Whenever you remove that, you will, everyone will have their own all the connections. Earlier it was connected to row generator, automatically disabled other functionalities because the dependency created. So what is the point of other things? So now you can see, right, there is no subjob okay, only on component okay, on component error if because it is a dependent on this process. So depends on the connection you have established with other thing, then automatically the things will be disabled to that component. Okay, so now there is no option, you have to use a subjob okay. If you want to perform subjob okay, you have to perform on this only subjob okay, because subjob okay is means it is a part of this process. The iterate is a part of this process, so you cannot establish subjob okay from this component. Okay, so you want to perform on component okay, after this component comes you want to do something, then you can use the on component okay. So the connections will automatically will changes depends on what connection you have established before that component. Okay, so now this is the process which is going to be subjob okay. I want to end, I want to print this, and I want to loop this process number of times. I'm going to deactivate. You want to comment, just you have to give the forward slashes, so then it will deactivate the statement. So I want to loop this process alone I want to loop. So if you connected the loop to this one, just to perform this each and every run loop, you want to iterate how many iterates you are doing, that many times it's going to perform. So what will happen, it is going to iterate the process to complete. After complete the each and every process, it's going to trigger. So what I am trying to do here, anyone? So can you explain what it is going to do based on the connections? What it is going to do? So where it will start? So what is the starting point of this job? What is the starting point of this job?
So
Anyone?
loop activity loop is the starting activity.
Green,
How you are saying?
It's a green
because
color
background is
token,
green.
right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Next, what will happen?
So it will generate the data.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Once that is done, right? So on component, okay, means once the component is completely done, it will write the data into, I mean, output into Java,
Mm-hmm.
T
Mm-hmm.
Java one. Once then it will go to T log row. Once all the job complete, right? Then the T Java 2 will get executed.
Okay. Okay. We'll see. What happened?
So first row generated, I mean data generated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, hello. Okay.
Based on output, now what you have framed, right? What you understand and what it is printed is that what your understanding is matched with the output.
No.
No. Why?
So first it is printing hello.
Mm-hmm.
Then it
Mm-hmm.
is generating data.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Next, it is synthetic. So now that is the difference. So we have to understand. So if you see, right, whatever you understand is a like a one extent is a good, but still I can give some blind symbols again here to remember. So now you see, right, I always am telling process. So here, how many process are there totally? Anyone? How many process are there? I mean, how many activities are going? Remove these connections and you can say how many processes are there.
So it's like 3.
Yes, exactly. And what you are trying, you are establishing a on component, okay, on this connection. Okay, so how many process now again?
It's like 2.
No.
We already connected, right?
Yeah, connected, but how many you are seeing processes?
Four.
Four.
Be
Where
like
are you
3
seeing?
again.
Yeah, the process are three only. So
3
never
only.
change, process are three. But when you are establishing a connection, so if it is not in the, it is in the part of this green color, like whatever gray color you are seeing, right? It is not part of this. That means it is a, this is the process and this is a separate process. When you are making this as a part of this means what will happen, it will be extended the that background thing. So and you can see the, then you can identify there is a single process. Now you see, right, how many processes are there here? How many
Now it will
processes
be
are
like
here?
2.
Yes, that is a difference you have to understand. Okay, so so if you are establishing connection, if it is a part of that other process, then it is going to be executed in that immediately. But now you are making a separate process from this process. It is not part of the above process. So that's where what is happening, whenever this is coming and it is generated arrows, then it is coming here and you are asking to start this print, this one immediately. Once this is done, immediately you are asking. So this is the one process and this is the other process and this is the third process. So if it is not part of this process, what will happen? Once the one iteration is completed, then when it's not wait for log row printing, but still, I mean the process, entire process, this one, and this is the second process and third process. But this process you are asking to trigger on this component. So this component first set generated 50 rows, then immediately it will come here. So that is done. That this process is first iteration done, and this process also followed on this component, and that means this is ready and it is giving a hint to this component, go ahead your work. So this process is giving hint, giving a green signal to start your process. That's where you are seeing the printing the number of. So you are using on sub job okay here. No, if you are not using on sub job okay, this is a separate process. So this a process is separate. It is not wait for whole this process. Whenever it is under this process, then you will think the sub job is wait for complete these things, then only it will print. But right now this is a separate process, this is a separate process. So this process is what it is doing, two executions, and one execution happened immediately it is passing that hint to start your work. And this is also printed, and it is given the green signal based on your connection, and it is asking to do your work t java 2. So that's where you see the output. So first it is given the loop, and it is row generator is completed. So hello is given, that on component is worked. So 50 rows or generation is completed by the component, and it is passed that hello. Just you can print that hello. That print is working. So this process has finished the work to print hello, and this is coming here. This is a process. So this entire process is called a again sub job. So this is a sub job. If you are not connected and established, so this is a one sub job, and this is a one sub job, and if you remove this one, this become a one sub job. So all three are different process. This is a sub job, this is a sub job. Now three process, three sub jobs in your job, and you are establishing connection to on component okay to this process. That means this process generates on this component. Once this component executed, then you are asking to do this one, and this is done, then immediately you are asking to do this one. So if you are connecting on component okay or on sub job okay, it won't differ. So because it is a one component we have, and we don't have a number of components, right? So but still this you can call it as a component also fine. You can have on component okay also. What it will do, once the first execution done, it will come here, and it will ask to proceed your work. And the next process, it is completed printing the hello, and it will ask to proceed your work. Here the difference is why when you are going to use an sub job okay on component take. Here one component we have, and we don't have any connected other components. So you can use on component okay also fine, or you want to use sub job okay, because it's a job, it's a sub job. It is just a, it's this component job is print hello. That is the job is going to do by the t java one. So that is a job. Or this is a single component, so you can use a on component okay. If you have connected other components and all, then automatically you want to perform like this. If you created three components process here, right? Same way, if you have three components, something which is processing, then you want to wait for complete three components activities, then you want to do perform the your task, then you have to create a sub job okay. Right now only one component, and it is also a job. So there its own job it is doing. You can call this is a sub job. It's a java component alone, it's a job. It is doing hello printing is its activity. So we have asked to perform print hello, so that job is completed. So that's where I am connected sub job okay. If you connect on component okay also, it's not going to differ, because it's a job. It's not waiting for any other components anything. So it's alone can able to perform, and it's a sub job. That's where it is taking as any connection. So it will allow you to connect sub job okay or on component okay. There is no much difference, it's a single component, right? So but still why I created sub job okay, to understand it is a sub job means it's a one component also separated, but it is doing its own process. That is also called as a sub job. So if you remove the here, if you forget about the connections, three sub jobs are there. One is this one, which has a three components and connected with the loop and to generate data and printing on the lagro. And other one T-Java, which is going to print hello. And other component is a T-Java, something it is printing, but it is dependent on this pro. So you have to give that dependency, because you want to print the final number of rows generated. So I'm deactivating this. So if you are not giving sub job okay, then you will not get number of rows. Now you will get only log row printing, and it will print at the end only one time, because you are using looping and sub job okay. So now you will not get two times of printing the statement. You will see only one time after row generator preparation, because you have asked to print at the end of flow. So this entire flow is running, so it is going to do 20 execution or 10 execution doesn't matter, but overall what is the last count it is generated. So 2 times it is done, but generally you will get 100 rows, right? But it is printed 50 because first execution it is not captured because you have asked to do the activity entire flow completed. So entire flow completed, at the end how many records will be held by this component? 50, because each execution the variable value is changing. So it is first execution it will have 50, and next execution happen it will override that 50 to 50. So finally it is printing 50 only, it will not print you 100 records, because overall you want to get the count 100, you have to capture every iteration. There you have to go and get the on component okay on t row generator, then you will get 2 times. So every execution it will try to print that number of rows, then you will easily see how many records. It's 100 records are printed, but entire flow you are using sub job okay, then at the last whatever count is there in that variable, that is it is printing. Now you see, right, component okay. So before starting printing log row, you can see the 50, and same way you'll get the 50. So now you can see, so first iteration 50 happened and second iteration also 50 happened. So that's how on component okay and on sub job okay. Okay, just start practice. I'm telling, right, maybe little confusion also fine. So going forward when you are designing a jobs and exercises, there will go deeper and where we are going to. This is not a really like a which can be able to follow business scenario or some requirement, right? Just we are trying to something iterate and we want to understand the connections. So you may not able to you may not you exactly what how it is working, you may not able to 100% you may not follow, but some people may be followed who are already using other different tools and all. Okay, so that is how right now we discuss row, main, iterate. Okay, row related connections we discuss row, main, and coming to trigger. So trigger is a kind of event. So there we have a on component okay, on sub job okay. Few more conditional based and to get the error log and all we have will continue tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.